Yo guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we have just had the brand new gameplay deep dive for FC26. So I'm going to literally run through everything, just pick out all the important stuff that is actually important to what you guys are going to need to know. We'll leave a lot of the basic stuff on, but we're just going to go through and literally go over everything that we now know about FC26 that has just come out. So of course, as we knew from the last trailer, we've got a competitive and an authentic game mode. Competitive is going to be in Foot Champs, Division Rivals, anything Ultimate Team, and then for career mode and kickoff, it is going to be the authentic game mode. But apparently in career and kickoff, you can also choose to play competitive if you want to. But as we can see, competitive gameplay is tuned for added responsiveness and higher player control, mainly focused on online modes like Ultimate Team and clubs. Authentic game mode is tuned for higher realism and true to life match tempo / speed in offline modes like career. And realistically, the only reason they've done this is because career mode players enjoy that more realistic play for career mode, which I totally understand. And it just doesn't work like that in Ultimate Team and stuff like that. It just doesn't work very well trying to do that. So now we've got some gameplay fundamentals, which is basically dribbling, pace, shooting, passing, all that sort of stuff. So as we can see, dribbling and movement make players more agile and responsive on and off the ball. Goalkeepers make them more consistent and intelligent. So this is basically their goals with them, to make goalkeepers more consistent and intelligent. Defending to reduce the quantity of balls that bounce back to the opponent, which is just one thing. And that and goalkeepers are two of the biggest problems in this game, in my opinion, is the fact that every time you make a tackle, doesn't matter how you could tackle someone 45 times, they will still end up with that ball at their feet. Then the goalkeeper will just have a shot at them, they'll parry it straight into the opponent's player in the 6-yard box, they score an easy goal. So that is meant to be having a big overhaul this year. Passing and shooting make it more responsive and improve available options. Attacking and defensive positioning make better runs and provide more support. Physicality make it more reliable to protect and shield the ball. Again, another thing that I think has been missing out of this game for quite a while now. The amount of times I pass it forward to my striker and they just stand there, the defender runs past them, gets to the ball first, rather than just shielding it, holding them off. Getting to that ball is going to make a big difference. First touches in controlling the ball improve the control of trapping the ball. Online and general gameplay responsiveness make the game more consistently responsive for both offline and online. So for dribbling, what they have basically tried to do is just overhaul the entire dribbling technique, the way that players move, the agility on them, the way they keep the ball at their feet. And you can see the comparison right now. So this is what we're running with FC25. You can see like this little green line is where the person is like pointing their analog stick. Look at how delayed that is for a start. They're still running straight and the analog's pointing right, and now it goes. You can see how delayed it was, and this is the game we're playing right now. Look at how delayed it is. It really isn't great, but this is now FC26 dynamic dribbling. Look at how much more responsive it actually looks, how much lower they are, center of gravity. They actually look like they're moving with the ball in the way that they should do, rather than what we've had this year where it's so sluggish, it's so slow, the touches seem to be really far apart. Whereas in this, they're actually taking close touches, keeping the ball at their feet, and overall it just looks very good. They've removed the agile dribbling by holding both the triggers down. They've also removed contextual agile dribbling and its setting from the menu. So basically, they've just removed agile dribbling. I think this is because some people knew how to abuse it and it was slightly overpowered, and then some people didn't know how to use it and they felt that there was a bit of a disadvantage. I'm not too sure why they've done that. It was quite nice to be able to just slow your players down a little bit more via your own controls and just actually do it. But I'm hoping that you can now do this by simply not sprinting. So if you let go of the sprint button, hopefully we can now do that. Movement is another thing they wanted to talk about, and agility being one. As you can see, explosive sprint increased the player agility and explosiveness in every direction. Run styles, so obviously players have their run styles in game. We've got lengthy, controlled lengthy, all those sort of different ones. We've got adjusted runs to be more natural and explosive to reflect the pace of an authentic football match. Attacker versus defending speed, improve the speed differentiation between attackers versus defenders. Again, something that's been needed. I'm fed up of my attackers with 99 pace getting caught by a defender with like 60 pace. It's the most frustrating thing. So hopefully this year that we actually see the difference that they're talking about here. But again, this is the agility in FC25. Look at how slow that turn is. Like, you don't even realize it when you're playing the game, but when you actually watch it like that, it really shows you how slow it is. And FC26, I think it could probably be a little bit quicker, but it's a lot faster. Your players are going to make those runs in behind a lot easier, and just overall just going to look a lot nicer. And if you guys watch the trailer as well, obviously the trailers come out. If you want to watch the trailer, go and watch the trailer first and then come back to this, because we're going a little bit more in-depth on everything. If you watch the trailer, you'll see the run that Mbappe makes. He's almost running back into the defenders, and then he turns all of a sudden and he makes that run because they've played the through ball, so he can adjust to it quickly. Whereas this year, you physically can't do that. If your player's running back and you've played that through ball, there's not a chance that player is getting anywhere near the ball. Whereas next year, from the trailer, it looks like you will be able to. So they're now going back to 3 acceleration types to allow for a more predictable pace of play. We're going to have explosive, lengthy, and controlled. So explosive is going to be agility at minimum 65, agility strength to equals 10, acceleration minimum 80, height has been separated between male and female players. So they need to be under 6 foot or under 5'4" for a male and female. Lengthy is going to be strength from minimum 65, acceleration a minimum of 40, height has been separated again to 6'1" or 5'5". Controlled, any player that doesn't meet the 2. So if no one's lengthy or explosive, they're just going to be controlled. Adjusted the early stages of all 3 types to be more responsive. Adjusted deceleration of all players to be faster and snappier. So they've also changed the jockey to improve the jockey movement to be more agile and responsive. The way turns are made, and then the low urgency as well. So improved low urgency and relaxed animations for players not directly involved to play to be less frantic and have them ready to accelerate when needed. So as you can see, this is the jockey from last year. You know, it worked pretty well, to be fair. Jockeying wasn't too bad this year, but let's see what it's like this year. As you can see, the player looks a lot more agile. Looks like he's going to move a lot freelier, which is a lot better. Goalkeeper fundamentals. Now, this is something that obviously has been needed to be changed massively. Deflection control. Add a new level control where save deflections to significantly reduce the amount of deflections going back to opponents. Most deflections will now go out of bounds toward teammates or to open space away from opponents. Goalkeeper senses. Refine the goalkeeper's ability to read shot trajectories to better reflect real-world save efforts and shot detection. Technical improvements. Improved base systems for goalkeeper handling. More consistent stop shotting and more responsible and more reasonable decision making in one-on-one situations. So again, goalkeepers are just having a massive overhaul. They should be positioning themselves better. This is also with the reinforcement learning. So they've basically got a system that is making the goalkeepers learn in what positions to be in. I don't know if I like that or not, whether it should just be coded, right, this is how the goalkeepers are going to play, rather than having an AI-controlled learning system. But, you know, we'll watch the little thing that they've got here. So this is the goalkeeper positioning this year. As you can see, it's very easy to score. Well, you know exactly where you're going to put the goal, unless a player actually moves their goalkeeper. But one of the biggest things for this year is, as you can see, they're looking to make smarter decisions. See how he came out a little bit further there and then covered that further side. Look at that movement there. Covers it, makes it a little bit easier. But overall, guys, the main thing that I'm looking forward to with goalkeepers is seeing how well they manage to deflect the shots, save them, put them in different areas where, you know, it's not going to affect the game. It's not going to go straight back to their opponents. They're not going to score straight away. But I just basically want to go through all the different stuff. So Be a Goalkeeper will now be available in, I believe it's Clubs Rush, not Ultimate Team Rush. I believe it's only for Clubs Rush. You can play and go in the Rush game mode now. We've got all of this sort of stuff to go through. Defending, as we said, tackle outcomes should be a lot more significant with what you're going to be receiving the ball as. You should be receiving the ball a lot more out of those tackles rather than it bouncing straight back to your opponents. Added new deflection control systems to make block shots put further away from danger. Interceptions, added new deflection control systems to keep possession and moving the ball. So basically, every time you intercept, make a tackle, make a block, whatever, it should be a lot more reliable that you're going to end up with the ball, or it goes out into a non-danger zone. So it's going to go further out the pitch, means your opponent isn't going to score straight off of you trying to tackle them. And again, this is what we was looking at for this year. So look at how bouncy the players are. Look at how they just bounce off of the defenders, end up with the ball still. The ball always goes back to that defensive player. Whereas if we look at the new one, it makes a lot, like the animation just makes more sense anyway. Like, I can't believe we've had to wait for FC26 for animations for defending like that. I don't really understand it. Tackle spam, improved logic for tackle spam. I'm assuming this is all going to be the sort of stuff that they changed in a recent update as well, where you can't just tackle spam. You know, you can't just run at players and just keep tackling. They've got tackle personality, tackle versus block, tackles from behind, which has obviously reduced the effectiveness of that sort of stuff. But I'm just sort of going to scroll through until we get to some important stuff again. So passing responsiveness, your passing angles, rebalance animation restrictions to allow passing to cover a broader range of angles. Faster animations, passes behind. Essentially with passes, they just tried to make it more responsive and faster so you can actually play tiki-taka football rather than your player taking 3 big touches. They can't pass it because they're too sluggish. It should be pretty fast passing. As we can see again, this is the little rondo from FC25. Look at how slow this is. Like, this is the fastest you can pass a ball around on FC25. Genuinely. And now if we look at FC26, it is way faster. Like, it is significantly faster in FC26 than what it will be in it, or what it was in FC25. Improved Improved through pass targets. We've introduced the concept of passing lanes for semi-assisted through passes. Through passes will now lead to receivers more effectively. Other changes: pass receiver, improved pass receiver selection. So when you are passing to your player, it doesn't randomly to select to someone else for no reason. It actually goes to the player you're trying to be passing it to. Adjusted crosses to lead to more in front of the target, along with increased accuracy when in easy context. Ground passes, regular ground passes will now have a straighter trajectory with less contractual curve. Teammates will now maintain their position to receive ground passes, lob passes, all this sort of stuff. So basically passing has just been improved overall. Shooting responsiveness. So with shooting, there's not really too much that has changed, but what they have done is added the low driven shots, meaning that the timed finishing is now no longer going to be in the game. Time finishes be completely removed due to the low driven stuff. As you see, you've got low driven lace shot, finesse, trivela, flare shot, power shot, volley, and even a low driven header. The only thing that isn't available is, of course, for chip shots, because that wouldn't make a lot of sense. But as you can see, they have now removed time finishing because, again, it didn't add... and as you can see, EA have said it didn't add a meaningful skill depth and proved difficult to balance. It disproportionately rewarded long-range shots and felt inconsistent in high-pressure moments, which I definitely think it did. That there was a lot of times, especially with how delayed this game can be, hitting green times wasn't always that easy, and I genuinely think that's what they needed. They needed to get rid of it. It wasn't a massive skill gap in general. But as we can now see, Trivela shots and game changer playstyle. As we have known, if you guys watch the trailer, we have got 5 new playstyles being added, and I'm sure we'll go through them at some point throughout this as well. So let me have a little look at this. So the game changer playstyle, Trivela shots can only be performed by players with this playstyle or playstyle plus. If a playstyle doesn't have the game changer playstyle, attempting Trivela shot will be difficult to will default to a lace shot instead. So instead of Trivelas being super overpowered, basically you're going to have a playstyle to be able to do it, which is going to be the game changer playstyle, which allows for flare shots anyway. Attacking and defensive positioning, so player support, everything is basically just going to be a lot better. Your attacking runs should be better, your build-up play should be better, your just overall options to pass the ball to should be better when going forward. And then defensively, exactly the same. Your players should be in marking their players better, have that defensive high line or defensive line height that you guys can adjust and just play with however you do want to. There is a little video here, but I don't really feel like there's too much. But as you can see, these are attacking runs that they're basically talking about. Like, it does make a big difference, which obviously you can do if you know how to. If you use your bumpers, you can send your players on runs like that. But it's nice to see that they actually look a little bit more dynamic. They look a little bit more awake and alert to the game that's going on around them, rather than just standing there for no reason. Physicality, as you can see, again, shielding improvements. Like I mentioned earlier, shield trapping. Our objective was to give players a new tool when trapping the ball and wanting to stand their ground instead of immediately moving. Something that's not been in this game for a long time for some reason. You can now actually hold players off of you. So if you've got a big striker like Haaland and you've got a small defender behind you, you can just stand on the ball, keep them away from you, wait for an option to open up, and then make your play from there. And exactly the same whilst dribbling as well. You can also hold players off more whilst dribbling. We can watch the shield trap as well. We might as well do it. This is exactly what I meant beforehand with the shield trap in this game. Your defenders just run straight past you, straight to the ball. They're going to pick up every single time. Whereas this year, as I mentioned, you can now hold those players off. It's going to stop them from getting forward. It allows you to receive that pass to feet, which is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm really, really excited to see how that does work. Stronger players are able to keep opponents away from fighting for an incoming ball as well. So, yeah, the bigger players can do it in the air and on the ground. Let's just try and find some more important stuff. Controlling the ball in first touches. First touch responsiveness. I mean, as long as you're not holding, basically accelerate as soon as you're picking up the ball, then yeah, you're going to be okay. Anything else here? Our goal is to make the game more consistent. Yeah, we know all of that. Gameplay animations, we don't really care. Fatigue redesign. Yeah, I believe that with this, what they have done is fatigue only affects AI controlled players. User controlled players are not affected while being controlled. So if your player is really knackered by the end of the game, but you put the ball to their feet and you start controlling them, they're not going to be like that. They're basically going to have full energy and be ready to go again. Inputs, indicators, and overlays. They've basically put the input thing like this, and then we've got the new overlay for the connection and stuff like that. Competitive and authentic gameplay, we've already touched on that. What else is there? Let's have a little look quickly. New stadiums and stuff like that, which again we're not really too bothered about right now. It's not sort of what you are here for. Authentic gameplay, we've got new sliders. The main differences in authentic gameplay are authentic sliders, weather effects. So basically everything that you can control, like in terms of weather, how the goalkeepers play, just everything in general. Like if we have a look here, authenticity features, you got wind effects, weather effects. If we do have a little look further down, we've got header shot error. So you can basically just play with the the sliders, as you've been able to do, increase shot power, goalkeeper play, just depending on if you want to make it better for you, worse for your opponents, whatever it might be. A bunch of sliders for anyone that likes to play career and actually mess with those things. Don't think that's a very high percentage of the player base though, so I am just going to skip over it. But like I said, if you want to change the sliders whilst in game on career mode and kickoff, you can do that. Teams playing styles improvements. We've made improvements to the playing style of CPU teams to make them more unique. Again, this is more career-based stuff, which we're not too worried about. The accessibility thing's kind of cool. You can now turn a high contrast mode on. You can turn turn stadium shadows off again, which is a pretty cool one. And again, this isn't something massive, but if it does show the gameplay clip, it actually looks like it makes quite a nice difference. Yeah, so as you can see, this is the high contrast mode. I feel like it just makes you be able to see what you're actually looking at a little bit easier. It looks horrible, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it just makes it easier to actually look at what you are looking at, which is pretty nice, especially for some of those players that may be struggling for that. Again, like I said, you can turn off the stadium shadows as well. They've also added simplified skill moves. Executing a successful skill move is one of the most enjoyable parts of FC. Still, we recognize requirement, but I like the fact that skill moves, being a skill move, requires, you know, some sort of brain power to know what you're doing. Whereas now you can, with a simple flick of the right stick in any cardinal direction, you can now just basically do a skill move. We're committed to making sure that everyone can enjoy the excitement of FC regardless. Playstyles, as we said, we have got a couple new playstyles being added, and they're also rebalancing a lot of the playstyles as well. The goal is to make high rated players play akin to their real life ability, making attributes more impactful. Basically what we knew what playstyles was for anyway. But the new playstyles are Enforcer, Aerial Fortress, Precision Header, Game Changer, and Inventive. Again, Game Changers for flare shots. That Inventive is for flare passes. Precision Header is obviously for precision header. Enforcer is going to hold off the ball. And then the Aerial Fortress is going to be a lot more defensively strong at the back. Removes playstyles. We've removed playstyles and reworked their mechanics to the new ones above. So Power Header, which is of course Precision Header. Aerial, which is now Aerial Fortress. Travella, which is now the Game Changer. And Flare, which is now the Inventive. So that's how they've changed those ones there out. Again, we've just been through what they all do, so we don't need to go over those too much. And what else was there available for us to be having a little look at? FC IQ, again, not really anything that's going to be too game changing in there. We do have some new player roles actually, which is quite nice, if it does show them on here. New player roles, here we go. We've got a wide back, so for the centre back they can play a little bit more towards a full back. You've got an inverted wing back, which is going to be of course getting back and forward all the time, going on and on and on. The box crusher for a CDM, it's going to allow them to get into the box a little bit more, you know, do the late runs into the box, try and score those headers last minute. And a ball playing goalkeeper. As you can see, there's not really too much more that we can go through here, so if we do just go ahead and get rid of those, let's just keep scrolling. New set piece assignment, 2 new attacking corner kick assignments, top of box defensive cover, and then you can now also set your defensive corners as well. So when you're like with a corner, you can set up how you want it to be. So rather than getting beat at the near post because you've got a 3-foot player at the near post, you can put your big centre back there. They're just going to get it away every single time. A few quality of life improvements, again, nothing we really need to assess right there. Rushes overall pretty much staying the same. Quick chat's going to be the same. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same for what we would imagine. Skill moves, you know, we've got all the skill moves, which again we don't really need to go to too much. But there is a few things on Twitter that I want to check out, so let me jump on Twitter and show you there. So if we do just have a little scroll through some of these, goalkeeper evolutions will be coming to FC26, which is a big one. The power curve will be slowed down in FC26, so what this basically means is instead of starting the game like it was last year, and basically within the first 3 hours everyone had 85 rated players in their team, and everyone was just had insane teams, they should, in theory, be making it a lot lower rated teams and players at the start of the game. So the game's going to start a lot slower. You're going to have those lower rated players. You're going to have to struggle through the trenches with those lower rated players before you do get onto the big cards, which in my opinion is the biggest W they could possibly make in this game. As we mentioned, Travellas have been nerfed. Power bars have been added into the game. As you can see, that's what they look like. So you can see the weak foot and strong foot of each player as well as their skill moves in game, rather than having to have the knowledge of who's got what weak foot, who's got what skill moves, etc, etc. You are going to be able to see it in game with your players' names. You will earn, so you can see big rival rule changes coming to FC26. You can earn rivals Sorry, let me just zoom that in. You can earn rivals points not only through wins, but by getting extra weekly rivals points for completing small objectives in PvP, like scoring first in a game. So you will be getting rivals objectives to give you more rivals points, which is pretty cool. So rather than have to play all your games out, you might be able to get some of your points via completing these objectives. Some 6 PM content that's just dropped. What else is there that we can take a look at? I know there's a fair few other things I did want to check on. So these are the new skill moves. A little drag to chop. Just let you guys show these as well. Everyone likes the new skill moves. The advanced, the trickster, rainbow flick as well. Pretty cool. The Elastico variation, which again is not really brand new into the game. The explosive step over. Now we're just getting into like explosive stuff, which we don't really take a look at. Camp Lou's returning. Is there anything else that we do want to take a look at? I believe that is pretty much everything. Repeatable evos are coming. So basically, if you find an evolution that you like, but you've got like 3 players you want to put into it, if you complete it with 1 player, you'll be able to then do it with another player. If you complete that one, you'll be able to do it with another player as well. So you can do the same evo with different players over and over and over again. What else is there? Low driven shots we know about. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that we are going to be going over for today, guys. So if you have enjoyed today's video, I know it's been a bit of a longer one, but if you have enjoyed it, be sure to smash a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments below. What are you most excited for? What's the biggest W in your opinion that we've been talking about today? Again, as more information comes out with the new trailers and stuff they're going to be going into, like when Ultimate Team Deep Dive comes out, we'll be going into that. Once career mode stuff comes out, we'll go over all of it. So make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on. I'll catch you on the next one in a bit.